What's up YouTube? I finally got my hands on the Pixel 6 Pro and I decided not to make a full review about this thing, but instead I would like to concentrate on the issue I have faced with it.
All without internet.
And before I proceed, make sure to check out my channel. I currently have a giveaway for PS5 and Xbox going on, so don't miss your chance. Alright, let's roll. In the box itself, there is not much. I remember the times when it was a big event to unbox a cell phone. Unfortunately, nowadays the boxes are getting smaller, and so do the contents of these boxes. So inside you'll find a pin for the SIM card, the USB-C to USB-C cord, a transfer adapter for the USB to USB-C, and some manuals and how to turn on your phone and what things mean. Yeah, so let's push it all on the side. And instead, let's look at the cell phone. I ordered the black edition of the Pixel 6 Pro, and this is how it looks like in fact. Fortunately, because I like it more this way, it comes in this like asphalt gray color. And note that this top lip is slightly discolored, and this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the thing of the latest Pixel 6. On the other side you'll find a beautiful display, and as soon as you turn it on, it will greet you with this beautiful vibration. It's just pleasant. However, when you start using the cell phone, you'll realize that the finger scanner to unlock it doesn't work as fast as on most of the cell phones nowadays. And the reason for that is, see that flash? It's optical. So it has to scan your finger every time. And that's where Google definitely saved some money to keep the price down. Speaking of the price, this is a flagman level cell phone from Google, and it's supposed to compete with every other top level cell phone. But does it? We'll try to find out. I quickly compared the sound coming out of the speakers, and as opponent I used my Samsung S21 Ultra, and I quickly realized that the sound quality is about the same. However, somehow it feels like it's amplifying the voices and therefore making the songs sound a little bit clearer than what Samsung does. Overall, the cell phone is pretty well crafted, it's very sturdy, and I would say it would be pretty difficult to bend it unless you are trying to break it. One note, the bezel. I'm not really a fan of this bezel because it kind of sticks out. Unlike on the Samsung, for example, it's very smooth and follows the corner shape of the glass. Here, the bezel sticks out a little, and this is definitely a great place to collect your dirt. In fact, when this cell phone arrived, it arrived a little bit dusty, straight out of the box, and there is something stuck in the bezel in the bottom here. I hope it is visible on the video I'm trying to show you. But most likely you will be carrying this cell phone in a case, so I wouldn't worry about this too much. Let's look at the screen instead. Once you open it, you'll realize that this device has a pretty neat screen, and if you are transferring from a couple of year older cell phones, you'll definitely notice the differences. However, for me, since I already use the Samsung S21 Ultra, I didn't find anything spectacular about the screen since they look about the same. And if you're curious why I have Switch OLED on the table, it's just here, because I want it to be there. And if you haven't upgraded for the OLED just yet, make sure to check out one of my latest videos up here. Now back to the Pixel. The front-facing camera is standard, and this is how it films in a room full of light. There's plenty of reflections and it's still doing pretty good. But what was more interesting for me is to see how the main row of cameras performs on this device. Because in my opinion, every single device out there is supposed to be made for a single purpose. And since the beginning, since the creation of the very first Pixel out there, these phones used to be known for a perfect crisp picture. And that picture was achieved not due to the excellent hardware, which wasn't bad either, but it was achieved through numerous and continuous algorithm improvements, and this cell phone is no exception. I must admit that camera was the only part attracting me to this cell phone, because by now I am so used to Samsung, I would barely ever consider changing. And when it comes to camera, and pictures, the Pixel 6 Pro does not disappoint. Yesterday I had my friend Anton stop over.
Hey guys.
And we took a few pictures, compared a few cell phones, and this is what they look like. For the test we compared the Samsung S20, the latest iPhone 13 mini, of course my S21 Ultra and Pixel 6 Pro. And the results are astonishing. This cell phone is able to capture every single pore on your face from like meters away. This is something that none of the other phones on our list could perform. I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing, but the algorithm inside the cell phone is brilliant, just for the level of detail it's able to capture and present. We didn't stop on the interior pictures, we actually stepped outside. And over there, Pixel 6 Pro did not disappoint either. Same as with the portrait mode, it did excellent job in the minimum light condition. On top of that, it was a really windy and cold day. So all these trees are shaking, and just compare how it captured the trees. So even on the grass layer, you actually can see every single separate stem. And none of the cell phones could capture the number plate of this car over here, except for Pixel. The zoom on Pixel 6 Pro was not as far-reaching as on the other cell phones we tested. It was about maybe 15 to 20% shorter, but it would provide a better image. But honestly, I wouldn't care about the zoom because I have barely ever used it, at least to that extent. However, one point I have to bring up is the depth of the shot. On the Samsung Ultra here, the building behind seems farther at the back compared to iPhone and to the Pixel. However, we found the Achilles of the Pixel 6. It doesn't like cold. In fact, it wasn't that cold yesterday, and it was only around +6°C with the ice-cold wind. So on the way back to the car, we decided to stop by a dark alley and see how it performs in the condition without light. So first we took picture with the S21 Ultra, and it was really hard to navigate the cell phone to position the frame because it doesn't see in the darkness. However, when it took the shot, it only took 6 seconds to get the full exposure and take this shot. Then we took out the iPhone 13 mini, and this phone is a blessing in the darkness. It actually has the ability to see in the dark, and it was really easy to set up the frame, but it took 30 seconds to take this shot, so Anton's face obviously got washed away. Texture of the bricks, every crack, every dot on it, you can perfectly see, and it's very comparable to the Samsung's image. And I think Samsung won this competition because it takes the picture a lot faster. But when I took out my Pixel, that's when the fun started. At first it started lagging, then all of a sudden it turned off, flashed 2 times with some kind of gray lines on the screen, as if it was broken, and completely restarted. After the restart, it was working as normal. We tried to take that picture a few times more, and every time we tried, it would crash and go through the cycle over and over again. We got to the brightest spot, and we still had the same issue. Then we got back inside, tried to use it, same issue. We checked all the hardware, we checked all the software updates, everything was up to date, and there were no damages on the cell phone. As you can see, it's in brand new condition. I just received it yesterday in the evening. So after lying down in room temperature for about 15 minutes, the issue disappeared.
12 hours later.
Then later today, I decided to check out a few other camera functions, and I encountered the very same issue we had last night, even though the cell phone was in the house this entire time. The issue appeared when I was trying to change the camera settings from FHD to 4K and to increase the frames per second to 60. Then I was trying to record a few videos, and that's when it happened. Unfortunately, I could not capture it. So was this a software glitch or something else? We could not figure out. All I can say is that it's still there, and it still comes up once in a while. Therefore, I would not trust the cell phone for any creative work, especially if you don't have a backup and you have to rely on a single phone. Get a Samsung instead. I never had any issues with this phone whatsoever. I have to admit that I am somewhat disappointed about this cell phone, because it failed me exactly with the feature I was looking forward to try and maybe keep this phone to use it for my YouTube videos. But now it goes back to Google, and if you have purchased this cell phone, let me know in the comments if you encountered the same issue with the camera, or at least please go outside in the cold if you live in a cold climate and try to take a few videos or nighttime pictures, because I'm really curious if this is only my cell phone issue or it's coming across the entire lineup like a chronic disease. In fact, I read somewhere that in Russia they had this issue with the Pixel 4, so who knows? It could be running in the blood. And if you watched all the way till the end, please be my guest to subscribe and hit that like button to help YouTube identify this video and push it up in the ranks. As you know, YouTube is run by cold-hearted androids who otherwise have no means to separate the good content from the bad content, and they always rely on your help. So let's tickle those algorithms. Let me know in the comments what you think about Pixel 6 Pro, and I will see you in my next video.